Remember when 3,000 people killed in October was too much? Now it's 30,000. It doesn't matter now. 100,000, it doesn't matter. 300,000, it doesn't matter. We've been lectured by the West for so long about like the values of humanity and Declaration of Human Rights, and then we just see that doesn't apply to us. So kind of like you feel that maybe our people are very cheap and they don't matter.
Hello and welcome to Ways to Change the World. I'm Krishnagiri Murphy, and this is the podcast in which we talk to extraordinary people about the big ideas in their lives and the events that have helped shape them. My guest this week is a stand-up comedian from Egypt originally, but he's now American, or Egyptian-American, and he was originally a doctor. But during the Arab Spring, he transitioned, if that's the right word, and became a sort of a television satirist in Egypt until his show was no longer acceptable to the new Egyptian authorities, and he had to leave the country in a hurry. Bاسm, Yusuf, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
What an introduction. Thank you so
well,
much.
I mean, look, you know, you spent a lot of your life trying to change the world in different ways.
No, I spend most of the time trying to get people off my back. Like, you know, my parents wanted me to go to medicine, so I went to medicine to get them off my back. You know, I get into comedy, people want me to do something, so I do them, so I get them off my back. It's always it's kind of a necessity.
So you never really wanted to be a doctor? I find that hard to believe, because you got far.
No, yeah, I know, but I hated every minute of it. I did it because there was no other choice in my mind. Because in Egypt, you have like the traditional way, the traditional path. It's very... I didn't have the courage to tell my parents I want to seek my passion, because honestly I didn't know what was my passion. I didn't know. There's not something that I'm so passionate about that I would take a risk for it. So here I am, 18 years old, top of my class, had the good grades for the medical school, and they would say, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I really didn't have any kind of passion to anything."
What did your parents do?
My father was a judge. My mom was a university professor. But of course, in Egypt, it's either an engineer or a doctor.
Right.
So my older brother became an engineer. So I had to.
You had to do the other one.
I have to kind of complete the mosaic, the social mosaic, and become a doctor.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am also a failed doctor in that I got a place at medical school and then I went into journalism instead. I was thinking, what a disappointment, or what disappointments we are.
Welcome, fellow disappointments.
To end up talking about these kinds of things. I mean, you have become very famous here, partly because of a couple of interviews you've done recently about Israel Gaza. You did one with Piers Morgan that got millions and millions of views. How do you feel about that role now, of sort of, you know, the voice of a dispossessed?
Well, as I said before in one of my interviews, I have seen this movie before. Because in Egypt, when I switched from medicine, I had my own television show. The show was very successful, and suddenly I was told the same things. You're the voice of the people, you're the voice of the revolution. I said, guys, I'm a comedian, please.
You were the John Stewart of Egypt
and
for
I
a
said,
while.
and here's the problem: when people get so frustrated with a certain issue, with a certain topic, and they find someone that they can resonate with, they put all of their hopes and dreams and all of their expectations on that person. And at the end of the day, you're a human being, and you have limits, and I have limits. And at a certain point, like I did in Egypt, I couldn't continue anymore. So I kind of bailed out because it was not safe. It was too much for me. Here, I found myself in a position where I'm defending a cause that I've never been part of. You know, I'm not a Palestinian. Yeah. You know, I'm married to someone who's half Palestinian, and even she's not even active about it. Her main concern is about the kids, basically. But I found myself being into that position.
I mean, your wife had family in Gaza. Are they still there?
Yeah, they're still in Rafah.
And are you in touch? I mean, do you know?
They're trying to get out. They're in the process of trying to get out for a while, and it's fine. They have like about 6 or 7 families, uncles and cousins and stuff, and they all lost their homes. They all bombed, and they're all now cramped in one apartment in one building, with sharing it with 25 other families in that building, and that building could be bombed tomorrow.
So do you feel able to make comedy out of this situation?
My show that I tour with now does not have anything to do with the current events. I try to avoid it.
Explain.
When I had this kind of uptick of fame and I'm booking my shows, people come and expect that I will talk about what's happening yesterday or the day before. And I said, no, it's not how it works. And I find it very hard to actually make fun of or make comedy out of it. To be honest. Yeah, I mean, like it happens when every now and like when I go on certain interviews, it's just like the absurdity of it.
Yeah.
You know, like how Israel like bomb everyone was like, sorry guys, oops, we didn't mean to. Let's go on. It's just like what happened today with the central global central kitchen, the
World Central Kitchen.
World Central Kitchen. Yeah, they killed 7 people. It's like, we're sorry guys. I mean, war is terrible. And then the second of all, they said it's Hamas. And then third of all, it was us. And then, war is bad, guys. I mean, sorry. I know we're sorry. And then they would even have their Twitter account saying, this is the difference between Hamas and Israel, because Israel acknowledges its mistakes and apologizes. Bravo. Bravo. Beautiful. And then even one of the tweets said, like, look what Hamas made us do. Just like, I mean, you don't even need to actually write any jokes about this. It's just like their atrocities are like, you know, like when Donald Trump was president and he was saying like one horrible thing after the other, you lose count and it doesn't become funny anymore. That's exactly what's happening there.
No, I mean, that's the point, isn't it? The world in so many ways is beyond satire. And yet...
Yeah, but at a certain point, it stops being funny.
Yeah, you are able to sort of you're able to make fun of people in certain... I mean, you made fun of Piers Morgan in that interview. You make fun of Ben Shapiro. You'll make fun of Israel right now. People don't know how to react to that today because you don't know whether to laugh because you don't know whether it's okay
because it's very sad.
To laugh
because it's very
when
sad.
People are being killed.
Because it's very sad. It's very sad. The fact that like you tell like we should applaud Israel for warning civilians before bombing them. Wow, dude, how amazing, how lovely. It's that's very sad. I don't know. It's funny and sad in the same time, don't you think? You know, it's like the fact that they lie. I mean, the fact that like when Israel said like Hamas has a base, military base under the hospital. Do you have any proof? Here's a CGI video. What? That's what we have, and you have to believe it. But if you don't believe it, you're anti-Semitic. Ooh, you're anti-Semite.
Do you get accused of that?
Of course.
Of anti-Semitism?
Oh, yeah. I'm an anti-Semitic, yeah. It's funny because in Egypt I was accused of being a secret Jew and a Mossad agent, and now I come to America to be accused of being anti-Semitic.
And how do you deal with that? What do you say? You laugh?
Like this, ooh,
yeah.
I'm so afraid now. It doesn't mean anything. This accusation of anti-Semitic, it's an empty accusation. It doesn't mean anything now.
But it's one of the worst accusations somebody can make, isn't it?
Why is it?
You know, being accused of being a racist or an anti-Semite.
You understand that I'm a Semite myself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense. You understand this?
Of course, in that
and you
respect,
understand
yeah,
like the fact that you say anybody is anti-Semite doesn't mean anything, because they call other Jewish people anti-Semites, right? Or self-hating Jews. Sorry, they changed the narrative.
Yeah.
Oh, you're self-hating Jews. You're anti-Semite. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So do you think the power of that accusation is ebbing away?
Yeah. People don't care anymore. People are making fun of this accusation because basically Israel is saying we'll do whatever we want, and because we are Semites, and if you speak about anything, October 7th, and you're anti-Semite. It's just, you see, the narrative, it's become so tired and so exhausting and just devoid of anything, of meaning.
Well, what do you think about the flip side of that, which is when people accuse Israel of a Holocaust or a genocide, or, and they turn those words back on Israel and say, well, look at what you're doing, when obviously the numbers do not compare. So, and when you talk about genocide, or, you think about Rwanda or Cambodia or the Second World War, or, millions of people dying. Do you think that's an appropriate accusation to level at Israel
We
now?
have to wait until a million Palestinians are killed, then we
That's
can
what
call
I mean.
genocide.
So,
of course, yeah. What happens is that it's not genocide. It's just like light tickling.
So at what point does something become
remember the
genocide?
enhanced interrogation, the waterboarding? It's not torture. It's enhanced interrogation. It's too much killing. How about that? It's just, that's why I don't even engage about all of it, because it's just words. Genocide, not genocide. Genocide. And as me and you wasting time deciding if it's genocide or not, already 10 people were shot as we speak.
Yeah.
Where is the proportionate response? How can Israel do? Is Israel, as we are discussing this arguments, right? 15 people are killed. Like, well, does Israel have the right to exist? What should they do? As we're discussing these books, 50 people were killed. It doesn't matter. All of these conversation about the media is just like sickening because it just gave Israel more time to do whatever they do on a daily basis, which is increased killing. So whatever definitions we're discussing, defending, whatever self-defense, war, terrorism, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The whole system seems to be designed for Israel just doing whatever they want, and on their spare time, they come in and they piss you off with these discussions.
So what have you worked out then about the power of a TV show like the one you had in Egypt or like The Daily Show in America, where you satirize power, you make fun of politicians, and then they take power and they win anyway? You know, I mean, The Daily Show in America was this sort of vaunted thing that people think is absolutely amazing. Jon Stewart's back on it. It's very funny. But it's not going to stop anything happening, is it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's an illusion of freedom of expression.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
Just explain.
My show is an illusion. All of this is illusion. We're wasting our other people's time by talking about stuff, thinking that we can actually make a change. Well, the world doesn't even change. I mean, it's right there. How many UN resolutions? How many Security Councils? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Really, we can talk and we shout and we can cry and we can jump and we stomp. And at the end of the day, the people in power are doing whatever they want.
Did you feel that your show was pointless or was powerless?
Yeah, at the beginning I had hope. But at a certain point, it doesn't matter.
When you started out doing that, when you were first offered that
I was enjoying the comedy.
What did you think you were going to be doing?
Here's the thing. I like making fun of people in power. It's a beautiful thing. And I think it is the measure of a democratic society. At a certain time when I could do it, you become disfranchised and you lose hope. Like, you know, and then you come to the United States and you think that there's hope because you can speak about anything you want. But then you speak about stuff and it doesn't matter. You vote for whoever in office and it doesn't matter because whoever you vote for doesn't really follow your direction or doesn't really work for your special interest. It works for the special interest of the people who give him money for the next election cycle.
Are you going to vote in this
I don't
election?
think so. I don't think so. I've been disfranchised from the whole democratic process, and I'm very sad to say this because, like, what is the reason? What is the point of like giving my vote for someone who, at the end of the day, will work for special groups that will pay him much more than I will ever pay him, and then they will go on and do legislation that doesn't work for my own interest. It doesn't make any sense. You understand?
But if you are faced with a choice between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, you're prepared to say, I'm not going to take the choice?
I'm not faced with any choices. That's not.
But that is the choice that's being put, isn't it?
I don't have to take any.
Where does that leave your power to complain then?
I don't know.
If you haven't
exercised
the choice.
This is all new to me. I'm discovering living in the new world.
Do you like it?
I love it.
What do you love about America?
Oh, America is a great place to live. It's a great. I mean, I'm very disenfranchised by its policies, but you know, it's a great. People are wonderful. It's a great place to live. It's a good place to raise your kids. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not complaining about America as the place, but as many Americans, they don't like the policies of their countries. As many British people, they don't like the policies of their, the British government. It is fine to be disfranchised by the policies of your government.
Do you feel free there in a way that you didn't?
Yeah, I feel free to say whatever I want, which is great. I mean, again, but what I'm saying is that I'm just in the phase of my life, like I'm discussing, like, what does it mean to be freedom? It's just like you voicing your opinion, or does actually your opinion have an impact and can change things? Or maybe they're just like, maybe we don't matter. Maybe our numbers don't matter, and I don't know. I'm still discovering this whole new world, my friend.
But you're sounding very, sort of almost nihilist, you know, sort of so cynical beyond.
Wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, you know, I talk to a lot of people who have reason to feel that way, I suppose. But I mean,
I'm actually surprised that you even are optimistic. Where does this optimism come from? Why are you optimistic?
Why am I optimistic? I don't know that I am optimistic, but I spend a lot of my time talking to people who think they can change the world, and who want to change the world.
So maybe I came to the wrong podcast
and make it a better place. Well, maybe, but and it's quite interesting to talk to someone who's much more open.
This is the face of someone who's doing comedy.
Well, it's quite refreshing to talk to somebody who says, well, you know what, you can't.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether that's what you really believe or whether that's just a phase you're going through.
No, maybe it's my midlife crisis. I just turned 50, so I'm getting used to this whole sense of doom.
Because you sound like somebody who must have been more optimistic early on in life.
There came
because
a time,
despite your sort of...
There came a time when we were optimistic, yes.
Were you optimistic about the Arab Spring when it happened? Did you think it was actually going somewhere?
Yes, we did. Yes, a lot of us did.
What did you think was going to happen?
The dream of democracy and, having a good democratic secular country.
And that Hosni Mubarak would go and that you would elect some leader that you all wanted. Is that what you thought?
Yes. We were so naive.
Because when you think back to what happened, so fine, you had this Arab Spring, Mubarak goes, Morsi comes in, the Muslim Brotherhood guy. What did you think when he's the prime minister?
I was fine
when he's the president. Sorry.
I didn't mind him being the president, but the thing is, it's just very complicated for the people who didn't live in Egypt. But the Muslim Brotherhood at the time, many of them use like democracy as a way to get into power, but then it's kind of like sabotaging all of the tools of democracy, so they continue staying in power, and I don't think that for the year that he stayed, there was like certain worrying signs. I don't think that he should have been removed. I celebrated him being removed because there was some danger on my own life from them, because under the Muslim Brotherhood I was arrested, I was interrogated, had my show being threatened, and then under the military I had even that worse stuff happening.
I mean, we need to remind people that there was basically a military coup.
Yeah.
After Mohammed Morsi, who had been democratically elected as president, failed to unite the country and failed to get international support.
Yeah, I mean, and I have to say that at the beginning, I was happy because he was removed, because again, when you're into it and there's personal danger at you, so at the beginning it's like yes, and then it's like no, that's wrong. What's happening? That's actually we're swapping a religious fascism with a military fascism, and then eventually I was kicked out myself
because your comedy became too dangerous.
I don't know, because I continued doing the same with the new regime and they didn't like it, and I lost my show, canceled a couple of times, and I was kicked and I had to leave.
Did you fear for your life?
I guess so, yeah.
Or did you think you were going to be locked up?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. I went through a whole lot of emotions, man. There's a lot of trauma that I went through.
Okay. I don't want to dig the trauma up.
Yeah, please don't.
If you don't want to dig it up.
Please don't.
But give me a sense of what you were going through.
11th of November 2014, I lost an arbitration case that has related to the cancellation of my show. And in arbitration, there's no jail time. That's the rule. But the lawyer said, like, dude, it's forget about laws and legislation. You have to leave right now because this is what's going to happen. They're going to come to you. They're going to prevent you from leaving. They're going to take your passport. They're going to put you in jail. So I left. And I left Egypt 2014, never went back. And I had to start all over again in a new country, a new language, doing stand-up comedy in my second language. This is the tour that I'm doing right now. And it was a kind of a very interesting journey going through all of that and going to the disappointments, going to the setbacks and trying to find yourself from the beginning and trying to figure out who you are in this world. A year ago or so, my stand-up comedy became better. And I was selling more tickets and actually putting more people in seats, and then the interviews with Peter Morgan happened, and then I exploded. And that when people came, I always say that the timing was right, because if that happened 2 years ago, I wasn't ready.
So when you say it's your story, where does it begin?
Well, it begins from Egypt when I was a doctor, had to leave that, doing the show, and then I talk about like being interrogated. The scene of interrogation is very funny. It wasn't then, but it is now. Because I was interrogated for my jokes, and then going to America, finding myself under, like, when Trump becoming president.
Well, tell me about the interrogation. Don't move on.
Oh, I cannot burn that. You can come to my show and watch it. I'm not gonna ruin my show here. I'm not gonna give spoilers.
And what does American citizenship mean to you now?
It means that I don't have to apply for visas anymore.
Is it practical more than anything else?
No, first of all, it is. Of course, it's practical. The fact that you can just, like, you understand, like 40 years of my life. 45 years of my life. I had an Egyptian passport, and I had to wonder. You had to plan any travel in a month and even a year in advance. You have to have the Schengen visa, the UK visa, the American visa, the Canadian visa, the visas for whatever. It is crazy. You understand? You understand? Like I think like you were allowed to go without a visa to only 19 or 20 countries and then suddenly the whole world opens for you. I can just like wake up, get into a car, go to the airport, go to any country I want, except a few ones, but I'm not very sure I want to go there. But do you understand the kind of freedom?
Can I take you back to the Arab Spring just for a minute? Because I covered both the initial spring and then the end of Morsi. I remember thinking, I don't know what it is that people are addicted to here. Is it revolution that they like? Is it the sort of the promise of something being better? Because it always seemed to me that whatever people wanted was undeliverable. You know, the sort of the hope of something that was brilliant after Mubarak, the hope of something that was brilliant after Morsi. People were always going to be disappointed because Egypt's problems were basically economic and political.
It's funny, but I mean, in Europe, which has a very stable democracies for 50 years, there are people going on to demonstration. I mean, look at France, they have a strike every 2 days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why are you pinning it on us? As if we are the only one who have to just accept things as we are. Don't we have to aspire for something better? Well, like the French people have everything, and then they still go on strikes, and they paralyze the whole country. Why don't you ask them that same question? Why does it always have to be us?
Well, because it's a slightly different thing that happened, isn't it? I mean, they were revolutions. They were overthrows.
Yeah, the people...
They weren't just sort of...
They were not overthrown by the people.
A French protest is sort of, you know...
I know, but the overthrow happened by the army, not the people. So.
Just explain that.
It happened by the army, not the people. I mean, the people who had the power to remove the authorities, not the people in the streets.
Ultimately, it was the army who stepped in both times.
You can put 1 million people in the street, doesn't matter. Just like at the end of the day, if the army doesn't move, there's not going to be a coup.
And so the army have always retained power?
Yeah.
And still do today?
Of course. Since 1952, it's always been in the army.
So what does that mean for people's ability to change things in their own countries?
I don't know. You need to ask the Western countries that support these military regimes all around the world, and then they complain about why don't we have democracies in these parts of the world. This is the most incredible question. It's like, why don't you have democracy like us? Like, I don't know, because you keep selling arms to these people.
Yeah. Well, and Sisi came to Britain to be trained, and all of these, you know, regimes are
your words,
are very
man,
close.
not mine. I don't know.
No, I mean, Egyptian military generals are often have been through history been trained in British military establishments. So you're right. You know, these things are propped up by the international order. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to get to sort of the cynicism that you have about people's ability to change the world.
My cynicism?
See, on the one hand, you talk about, people are right to sort of complain and people are right to want better.
I mean, they could complain.
But on the other hand, you'll sort of say, well, nothing really changes.
Do you think they're going to make it? Yes, they can complain. But listen, there's two different things. They have the right to complain. Your question is, will that change the world?
Yeah.
And I say, I don't think so. But at the same time, I cannot tell them not to complain. It's not really mutually exclusive, right? It's like you can have both. Look at me, for example. I go and I complain about what Israel does. Does that change anything? No. Do I keep doing it? Yes. Why? Because I have nothing else to do.
What do you think should happen now on that?
Where?
On the Israel question. Do you think things are changing? Do you think international opinion is changing at all? Well, do you think international opinion is changing at all? There's a sense...
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's the second question. But yeah,
it doesn't matter. That's it exactly. Does it change? Maybe. Does it matter? No. Because what people don't like Israel now? Do they care? Well, have they slowed down the killing? No. Have they stopped killing people? No. Have they stopped violating every single international law article? No. Does it matter? No. Will it change anything? No. They don't understand but one language, which is power and force. And there's no pressure or power from them to the United States, which is their own sponsor. And sometimes I wonder who leads the other. So it's not going to happen.
I mean, I understand why you say you feel disenfranchised and you don't want to choose between Biden and Trump. But do you think America will be different depending on who wins the election?
I am biased against Trump. I think he can make changes that affect even freedom of expression and democracy. But that's my bias. Maybe I'm misinformed. Maybe it's gonna be better. I had certain bias about Biden. I thought that he would be a better president. He's not. So I was wrong about that, especially in what happened in Gaza. I don't know. I honestly, like, this conflict has been very emotionally demanding, that I can't even imagine what America will be under either of them.
The conflict in Gaza, you mean?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? I mean, in what way is it emotionally demanding for you beyond the obvious?
I mean, the thing is, like, remember when 3,000 people killed in October was too much? Now it's 30,000. It doesn't matter now. 100,000, it doesn't matter. 300,000, it doesn't matter. We've been lectured by the West for so long about, like, the values of humanity and Declaration of Human Rights, and then we just see that doesn't apply to us. So kind of like you feel that maybe our people are very cheap and they don't matter. And it doesn't matter how many people are killed.
What do you mean by our people?
Palestinian people. I mean, at the end of the day, we're Arabs, right? Because if it's not, because we're all linked together, Arab, Muslims, Middle Eastern, whatever, you know. And I wonder, like, what will happen if my daughter, grows up and put like a Palestinian cafe and goes on a demonstration when she's 20 years old? Would she be arrested for being a terrorist? I don't know. This whole thing, like, stacking the whole world opinion against us and making the whole world accepting that we just die in huge numbers. I don't know. I didn't hear about any other population that lost 2% of its population in less than 6 months. I didn't hear about that. And it's happening right in front of our eyes, and nobody's caring. Nobody cares. We're just talking about it.
When you say nobody cares,
Yeah.
what would you have to do to show that you care?
Me?
Not any other
not
person.
Me. People in power, United States. You have to stop Israel. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna repeat it in every single interview. If the Gaza war stops today, you know what's the worst thing that could happen? People will congratulate and praise Israel for stopping the war now, instead of holding it accountable for the stuff that's done for the past 6 months. This is the scary part. They might even give a Nobel Prize, Peace Nobel Prize to Netanyahu for just stopping 30,000 people. If the war stops today, people will praise Israel for self-constraint.
Well, I mean, it's quite common at the end of wars for war leaders to then be awarded peace prizes.
Absolutely.
Which is always extraordinary. But what do you think should happen?
Israel should be held accountable and be taken to the criminal court. And they should pay reparation, and they should go in and repair what they did. Because whatever happened on October 7th does not justify all of that.
So when you say that, you feel your people, if you like, or Palestinians they don't
Not
count
even
as
my
much.
people. They are human beings.
Human beings, but they don't count
Yeah, they
the
don't
same way.
No, they don't count. How many Palestinian kids were killed since October 7th?
Yeah.
In the West Bank? 81.
Yeah.
If 81 Israeli kids were killed since October 7th, what will the world do?
But is this a revelation to you?
No, it's not a revelation. We know this all along, but when you see it,
You're
happen,
confronted by it right now.
because we know we did it. We don't matter. We know that our lives doesn't. It's not that valuable. We understand that. We've seen this a long time ago. Like, when 11 people from Charlie Hebdo were killed, which is terrible, of course. Everybody used to be for Charlie, and then the world leaders went to Paris. 11 people, but you have 30,000. If the news tomorrow comes out, 10,000 Palestinians were killed, do you think the world will make any change? No.
I mean, I saw the argument you made around that was about the dehumanization of Palestinians and about talking about them as animals. Do you think that was even needed?
No, it's not needed, but it's.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, because I think, it's just self-evident that people in some parts of the world are valued less than people in other parts of the world when it comes to death.
It's the currency
when you're when you're living in the Western world.
Yeah.
The question is, do you think the Palestinians needed to be dehumanized, or were they just worth less in the West?
Both, because in order to escalate the violence, you need to remind the people how inhuman those people are in order to continue doing it. Because Israel has been killing them on a daily basis, but in order to up the violence every now and then, you need a little bit of a reminder of how inhuman those people are. So it's just like a process that goes in to just help increasing the victim toll.
I can see why you don't do comedy about current events.
Yeah.
Because this is a dark conversation.
Yes.
And I guess an indication of where you are in your mind about this whole thing. So how do you switch between that and
It's my
comedy?
job.
It's just a job.
It's a job. It's my job. It's not just a job. It is my job. It's my livelihood. This is how I go in. And the people who pay tickets to come and see, make me laugh, don't have to suffer for whatever I have to go. I can have like horrible problems at home with my kids, with my wife, but it doesn't matter because there I'm a performer. Nobody cares about what happens to you outside and off stage.
And so if you were for a moment an optimistic person and could change the world in any way, how would you change it?
I don't know, man. It's a very rhetorical question. I don't know. The thing is, the whole big talk about changing the world doesn't do anything if you don't address the power. Who has the power? Who has the power to shape the narrative? Who has the power to force people to do certain things or stop people from doing certain things? And the people in power don't really respond or care about any of our suggestions to change the world, because at a certain point, if our ways to change the world will affect their special interests, they will stop you.
Is that what you're going to tell your kids?
No. I will wait until they're 21, then tell them. I'm not going to ruin their childhood. I'm going to ruin them as they were when they were young people.
When they're old enough for it to really hurt.
When they're old enough to have their lives ruined. What do you think? I am a monster? No.
Bاسم, Yusuf, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.